So let's say that I have this pivot table, and here are a few instructions for us to follow. So I'm going to click in here to bring up my pivot table fields. But if I right click on the column and choose group, so let's, all of this information here by date with each individual day, that's a little too granular for me. So when I right click on that, I could choose group, and Excel is going to recognize that this is a date field, and I can say group by months. So I'm going to choose group by months, and okay, so now it gave me all of the different months here and how we're doing with each of, in each month, how many sales are in each region. So we've got date over here in rows, region over here in my columns. I can also try grouping on multiple criteria. So group again and choose month and quarter. And let's see what that does. And so it gave me my quarters and my months. And if I wanted to, I could come over here and you see quarters is above date. But if I change it so that date is above quarters, what does my table look like now? So I'm going to move date above quarters. And now I have, each month and then what that quarter is like. That really doesn't tell me anything. But what if I grouped and I'd also had year in there? And so now I'm going to remove date, which is months, and I've got quarters and years. And now I could see, how did I do in each quarter for each year? Or I could switch the orders of these. So years was on the top and quarters was on the bottom. I'm going to drag years beneath quarters so that quarters is now on the top and years is on the bottom. And I could do this if I had 2 years of data. I'd be able to do, a comparison. How did quarter two do in the previous years, right? So I could do a quarter to quarter comparison between years and also by looking within regions. So, it's kind of a cool thing. This last little tip I have down here is to just suggest that you explore the pivot table ribbons, right? So even like, the show fields list, we've already seen that. That's such a useful one to know about to bring up this thing over here to the right if you're not seeing it. So let's take another look at grouping, right? So we saw how to group on date, like in this example. Can we group on other factors? Well, what if I wanted to group on regions and see how the East and West did compared to the North and the South? Well, unfortunately, East and West are separated over there. Can I come over here and no, region's just one thing there. What I can do is I could select this and then just click and drag when I get that four-way arrow, and I can now drop East next to West. I can then select East and West, right click, choose group, and it grouped East and West, and I could click in there if I wanted, expand and contract that, but I could click in there and I can make this East-W. And I could do the same with North and South, group those two together, and then I could click up here in the name and I can make this N-S. Right, so now I can see just how did East-West do together and North-South do together, and I could expand those to see the underlying data. What are slicers? So here we have a big table of data, and let's say we want to